Blue mask, right there. Blue mask. Go.
Arrests in Portland overnight as protests over police reform continue across the country. A deadly shooting there this weekend, just days after two protesters were killed in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And that's where the president is planning to visit, but he is getting some pushback from state and local leaders. Alex Brachet has more.
President Trump preparing to visit Kenosha tomorrow. He'll be meeting with law enforcement and surveying damage, but it's not clear if he'll meet with Jacob Blake's family. Blake was shot in the back 7 times by a police officer, resulting in his paralysis and more than a week of unrest. Rustin Chesky, the officer who pulled the trigger, and 2 others have been placed on modified leave. Public outrage has been further fueled by Kyle Rittenhouse, a 17-year-old civilian charged with shooting 3 people, killing 2 in Kenosha during protests last week. Rittenhouse's attorney arguing his client had no choice but to fire multiple rounds towards his immediate attackers because he feared for his life. President Trump refusing to condemn Rittenhouse.
There's some folks who've said conservatives are holding up this young man as, having done so within his rights to sort of self-protect.
That's under investigation right now, and they'll be reporting back to me over the next 24 hours, 48 hours maybe max.
Wisconsin's governor pleading for the president not to come, writing, "I am concerned your presence will only hinder our healing." And Jacob Blake's uncle telling ABC News the president is partly to blame for what happened to his nephew and the violence across the country.
Could they not be feeding on violence when our man in the White House is steady drumming it up?
Kellyanne Conway telling Fox News protests are actually good for the president's re-election.
The more chaos and anarchy and vandalism and violence reigns, the better it is for the very clear choice on who's best on public safety and law and order.
All this after a war of words between President Trump and Portland's mayor following violent clashes between demonstrators and counter-protesters there and the death of a right-wing supporter.
Do you seriously wonder, Mr. President, why this is the first time in decades that America has seen this level of violence? It's you who have created the hate and the division.
Joe Biden is in Pittsburgh today. His prepared remarks saying this president long ago forfeited any moral leadership and that he cannot stop the violence because for years he fomented it. Alex Brachet, ABC News, Washington.